Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Penultimate Conquest podcast, where we talk about everything to do with the video games industry. I am your host, Ruben Guerrero, and today I have two schmucks and a really nice guy. Let's figure out who the schmucks are. Eric, how are you doing today?
Hey, I'm good.
How's your Monday?
It's good. My blood pressure is down. Went to the doctor's office today. They were very happy. So it's a good day, Ruben.
Good.
Good
I'm glad.
day.
I'm glad. Will, how are you doing?
Yes, I'm doing fantastic. It's an excellent day so far.
Good. This is the first time you're on this show. Let me give. I don't know if you want me to give an introduction or if you want to give an introduction.
You can go for it.
Okay, I'll try my best. Don't kill me if I mess up. So, Will Beeman is notoriously famous in the Kind of Funny Facebook group for knowing all things Star Wars. And I figured if I'm doing a Star Wars episode about Star Wars Squadrons, I should probably have him on the podcast. Am I right, Will?
Yeah, that's good. I stumbled into somehow everyone recognizing my Star Wars knowledge. I don't know how it happened, but that's where we're
If
at.
it happens, it happens, you know?
Yeah.
And finally, I have with me Ryan. How you doing today, Ryan?
Hey. I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
It's a Monday, you know? Could be better.
Just like Garfield, you hate Mondays.
I do hate Mondays, and I do love lasagna, so I might be Garfield.
Well, you're from New York, so that's why.
I mean, well, sure. Okay, let's go with that.
That's why you love lasagna.
Yes, that because I'm from New York is why I love lasagna. Sure, let's go with that. I didn't know that was a stereotype
checks out.
for New Yorkers.
It checks out.
Okay.
Because ricotta cheese is just
gators
bad.
Around me all the time since I'm from Louisiana.
I mean, you just told me you saw a gator this morning.
I did not tell you that.
Yeah, you did.
See, you're stereotyping me with gators again.
I'm just saying that's what you told me. Will, is that not true? Did he not say that before we started recording?
I mean, I thought when I first logged in there was one in the room with him. So
there you go.
Makes sense.
So today's topic is going to be Star Wars Squadrons, and what we think EA will do next with the Star Wars property. Let's start off with Star Wars Squadrons. What did we all think? I know Eric said he didn't play it. I'm going to save my opinions for last because it's not good. Will, did you play it?
Yes, I did.
How'd you like it?
I thoroughly enjoyed the game. I'm not a big flight sim guy. I ended up being all right at the campaign in this one, but generally when it comes to flying games, I am the worst at.
Okay.
I'm just not good at like the flight sim mechanics, and I thought the controls were at least accessible enough in this one to make me tolerable at it. I haven't tried the multiplayer because everyone warned me that you have to be very good to be good at the multiplayer, and I just don't have the patience to grind on that anymore. My gaming time is too limited, especially with like Cyberpunk and all of those big fall games coming out.
Exactly.
I didn't want to grind into the multiplayer too much, and I mean I'll probably try it at some point just to see. But as far as the story goes, well, how detailed do you want me to go? Do you just want me to give you initial thoughts right now and then we go from here, or do you just want me to give all of it?
Let's do initial thoughts first.
Okay. Well, my initial thoughts is I thought it was very good and I enjoyed the game.
Okay. Ryan, what did you think of Star Wars Squadrons?
This game was priced at $40, right? Or was it $50?
Mm-hmm. It was 40.
40. For a $40 flight sim game, it was fantastic. And I come from a flight sim background. Like, I love my Microsoft flight sims, that kind of deal. So I thought this was the perfect mix of, like, hard flight sim and arcadey to feel right. The cockpits and everything were gorgeous. The story was... It was good. It wasn't the best Star Wars story I've ever played in a video game, but it wasn't also the worst one I've ever played.
Okay.
And I've actually dipped my toes into the multiplayer, and it's pretty fun. It's a good time.
Okay.
And I also have played it in VR, which was
That's my
a
question.
real good time.
Okay. PSVR?
Yeah, PSVR, it made me almost throw up, but in a good way.
I don't know if you can ever almost throw up in a good way.
Oh, you haven't had a good night at a bar yet, then.
No, I probably have not. Will, did you play in VR or just regular?
No, I unfortunately do not own any VR headsets. I have friends that do, but
Okay.
I don't have one myself.
Okay. I played this game for a good 30 minutes, and like within the first mission, I could not get good control of the flight controls, and so for that, I was out. I guess I'll try it in VR to see how it goes. I tried to get a refund from it from PSN, but they said since I downloaded it already, I couldn't get a refund. So I guess I'm pretty much stuck with the game, which is fine. You know, I appreciate that EA is finally like, you know, giving the respect that IP deserves, I guess, seeing as this was a $40 game that didn't really need to be $40. They could have probably pushed for 60, but you know, I appreciate that it's $40. Will, did you want to get into like full spoilers or full in depth?
Sure, I can get into it if you get into it. I do echo you and Ryan's sentiments though. For a game only being $40, I really loved that they just packed the game for $40 worth of content, sent it out, and you get what you have. And I think for that value, this game is definitely worth every penny of it. Could they have sold it at 60? Absolutely, they could have.
Yeah.
I think they would have gotten a lot more flack if they hadn't, because there is no post-launch plan for this game.
Exactly.
And I think I can let that slide because it's 40. Because I can almost see this game becoming an annual thing, where like next year we'll get another Star Wars Squadrons, and it'll be like prequel era content, and then we'd get another one, and it could be like early original trilogy content. Like there's the capabilities of just doing that way with like an 8 to 10 hour campaign, all the ships that are involved with the customization, and at that price point it works. And that would be a good plan to have, because a lot of people got this game. I don't know if it's because of or if it's just because they're just desperate for Star Wars games. But like these flight games like this are still a niche genre.
Yeah.
Whether the Star Wars license is on it or not. So I think that this point to it is going to help it have legs financially as a franchise. The story I did think was good, but it doesn't really have that must play factor to it, if that makes sense. Like there's no aha moment in the story. There's nothing about it that really hits you. There's some cool cameos. Like everyone knows that Hera Syndulla was in the game, so it's cool to see her pop up, and they did the motion capture with the actual voice actress. So it's kind of cool to see her carrying on in a post-Rebels world. It's cool to see Wedge Antilles show up with Dennis Lawson again, who had sworn off the Star Wars franchise for years, and then now he's slowly coming back to it again. Hey, they're probably finally giving him enough money to where he's willing to do it. But like, it was great to see him in The Rise of Skywalker. It's great to see him in this game. It was great that he was featured in Resistance Reborn, the novel. So, because I love Wedge, so it's cool to see him being a thing again. But it kind of runs into the same problem that I've been having with a lot of like the new canon stuff that takes place right after the Return of the Jedi starts. Is I think they know where they're heading with all of that stuff, but they haven't really figured out how to start that conflict yet. So it's always like the constant, the Empire's in scrambles. It's trying to recoup everything while the Resistance and the New Republic are trying to clean them all out, but like they haven't really managed that early war conflict yet. Like the Aftermath books kind of accomplished that with the Battle of Jakku, but outside of that, they haven't really found that must-have key landing point yet. And the Mandalorian could end up exploring that too. That's one of the few post-Return of the Jedi content so far that's really been nailing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's kind of my thoughts, really, just on the story. Overall, like it's very good. The characters are good. I like the cast and everything. I think it's just because I'm such a like light side of the Force Republic like fanboy and stan. Basically, the Imperial side of the story doesn't really ever hit for me. I can't sympathize with them like they want me to, just because I hate the Empire. So there's no reason for me to want to be friends with all of these guys and be like, yeah, let's take out the New Republic for the Empire. Let's do it. And it's like, no, I want you all to burn. So I'm sorry, I can't put myself in that shoes for you. But
boy.
But it was a good story. It's pretty well written. All right, I'll shut up now so people can join.
No, don't.
No, you're the expert here, Will. We literally want you to keep talking because you're so knowledgeable.
Yeah, no, that was fantastic.
Now, I did have one question for you, Will, because obviously I'm not going to ask the two schmucks in the room. No offense, guys. I'm sorry.
I mean, to be fair, he is the first person on this podcast to bring up Wedge Antilles, so obviously we want him answering Star Wars questions.
Yeah. I had a thought before we started, and I wondered, could you started talking about it. Yes, I know. I'm very flabbergasted. It's Will Beeman here. Come on. You started talking about how you could see that a next sequel could be like in another saga. Do you think, not in another saga, but like post episode, you know what I'm trying to say here?
Yeah, just like the different eras of Star Wars. Yeah.
Yes. Do you think that was the wrong choice that they could have done? Like, could they have put this game like in between movies instead of eras?
I think they could have, but I guess
they'll have the same thing.
I guess unfortunately to it is like the novels and the comics are just filling so much of that story now, and Rebels did as well. That's why I was always I'm still kind of curious what Kenobi ends up being, because a lot of the cool things I wanted to see Kenobi do, they locked down in Rebels. So like, I'm very interested to see what story they end up going with for that series. And it'd be the same thing with trying to put a game in there. I mean, they could have kind of gotten away with this campaign even just being on a far-reaching part of the Galactic Civil War, and it would have worked out all right.
Yeah.
But I think like in a sequel, say they go prequel era, that will enable a whole new story from a more distant side of this beginning conflict to be told, like with the Trade Federation and all that kind of stuff, because all of the space conflict and everything that happens in that film is all very singular on just Anakin's experience. There's not really this greater sweeping army to it yet. And that's something that's just beginning in that film. So there is territory there that they could explore, and even, I guess, not reintroduce new characters that come in from Clone Wars, but it would give them an opportunity to use some characters from that series, just depending on when they would set it. So I think that would be the most interesting thing. But for me, I think they could get away with doing that, but I would really love if the next game tied into the High Republic event that starts next year. Because like the big major event that happens in that storyline that those books are going to be about is all about the battle for hyperfuel. So spaceflight's going to be a big central focus in those books. So I would love to see a video game play and tie into that in that era.
Okay. Well, thank you, Will. I really appreciate you going into, deep lore and answering my question.
Yeah, if I get too talkative, just tell me to be quiet. It's just a part.
No, Will, again, you're here for that. Okay. We want you to talk because I know just like the basic Star Wars stuff,
Okay.
I'm understanding everything this man's saying.
Okay.
If that
Because I
counts
don't
for
know who
anything.
Wedge is. If that helps. When you said Wedge, I was thinking of Final Fantasy VII.
Oh,
I'm
see,
sorry.
I don't know Final Fantasy VII, so
Oh,
that's
well,
where our light side, dark side comes into play.
that's okay. That's all right. If you need to know anything about Final Fantasy VII, by all means, I'm
You'll
your
be
guy.
the one I go to.
Yes, exactly. Ryan, did you have any more information you wanted to give?
For the story?
Well, just anything.
I also agree that putting it in between the Galactic Civil War and then the last part of the saga it's where they keep putting everything, and like he said, nothing really gets solved when you put anything there because they haven't gotten to the point of solving anything there. You're just like, things are going to happen that start out. We just don't know what it is. We're just here, which I completely agree with. And I could definitely see them using this engine because the engine looks good to make games in other parts of the Star Wars universe, other eras.
Okay.
I don't know how you would do a Clone Wars era one if they wanted to keep this switching dynamic. I don't think anyone wants to spend time as the Trade Federation as droids.
Are you kidding?
That's
Sir, how dare you?
I don't want to be a living ship. That sounds horrible.
Ships.
The ships are alive. They are robots.
Yeah, that's the joy.
The ships are alive with the sound of music.
You could have Grievous in it. You could have all this stuff.
Oh, don't bring Grievous into this.
Always bring Grievous.
But you could have Plo Koon, which matters.
You could have who? Sorry, I didn't hear.
Plo Koon. He was one of the leaders who flew. He was a great captain. He was a Jedi.
I definitely know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Do you know
the guy with the gas mask.
Okay, so do you remember in Revenge of the Sith when they were doing Order 66 and they were shooting down the ship?
Yeah.
They showed the Jedi that was flying it. If I'm not mistaken, that was Plo Koon.
That is Plo Koon.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's who that
he's
guy
also
is.
Dave Filoni's all-time favorite Star Wars character. So
Really?
if you ever want to show people impressive Star Wars knowledge, you can just tell them.
Let me write this down. Give me a second.
We're clones. We don't matter.
Dave Filoni, you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's a great character. He's fun looking.
Okay. All right. Now, Will, I had a question for you.
Yes.
A lot of people tell me that Star Wars game that came out last year was really good, and I played it, and I didn't think it was that good. I thought it was okay. I thought it was okay.
Okay.
But yeah, I just thought it was okay.
Me already, Ruben.
Okay,
Jeez.
Eric.
Well, are you a big Soulsborne guy?
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay. Because I can see why that would have soured you on it. Because from what I've been told, the gameplay is very Soulsborne-like. I tried playing Dark Souls 3 for about as long as you tried playing Squadrons, and I can't play those games. I am not good enough, so I don't play any of the Bloodborns or Dark Souls games. But I guess this was kind of my Bloodborne, I guess, because the combat apparently just takes a lot from it. But I really enjoyed the story in Fallen Order significantly more than the story for Squadrons, because that tied in a lot of fun Easter eggs from the Clone Wars TV series that I never thought was going to be revisited. So when they were revisited, I was freaking out. And then my friends that were playing the game along with me, they hadn't watched Clone Wars yet. So I would be freaking out and telling them in our group chat, and they'd be like, okay, that doesn't mean anything. But then when we started watching Clone Wars together and we would get to these parts, so like, oh wait, that was in Fallen Order. That's awesome. And I was like, yeah, right. You know what? I was having like a heart attack, and the guy that wrote Jedi Fallen Order is the same guy that wrote like the Knights of the Old Republic games and some of the other Star Wars video games. So that guy knows how to just write Star Wars very well, which I think helped with that significantly. There's some things that I wish that game did a little bit better, but I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Now, I want to be clear. I enjoyed the story. I just did not enjoy the gameplay.
Okay, yeah, I can see how people aren't as into it.
Yeah.
I also want.
No, Ryan.
God, what is
Ryan.
Eric doing?
I don't want to.
If we're
know.
talking future Star Wars, I have to pull out my
well,
lightsaber.
we're not talking future Star Wars yet.
Turn it off.
Right.
Turn it on in a minute.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right.
I'm merely asking what your thoughts were on Fallen Order.
It's great. It was my game of the year last year.
That's unfortunate.
I thought it was crap.
I mean, it was obviously I played Bloodborne and all that stuff, so those games are great. And I love Star Wars, so you mix those two things together. And I love prequel stuff, so obviously there's a recipe for good stuff right there, and it was great.
Okay.
We saw like the big ordeal with Order 66 and just everyone getting wiped out, but we didn't really get like the personal stories. In my opinion, like I would like some smaller stories of what happened with Order 66 and just showing a master and apprentice how they dealt with it.
I agree. That was
really
probably
great. And you know, like the story of him potentially being the last Jedi out there, like how does that affect him and whatnot? So like combat was great, narrative was great. And I think the only problem I had with it was I played it on PC and I had performance issues, but that's nothing against the game. That was just me playing it on PC.
Well, that's your first mistake. You played on PC.
That's right.
I did buy it on PlayStation to play it again when I want to replay it. So I know it's great. Like I want them. I'm sure when we get into the future, like Jedi Fallen Order has a big tentpole in that future. So
okay. Ryan, what did you think of Fallen Order?
I think I'm going to state this off the top. I think the story is fantastic. I think the character of Cal is a great addition to the Jedi canon, all that kind of thing. He's a fantastic character.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the game itself is hot garbage.
Oh, okay.
And I'm coming in as a Soulsborne guy. I think the gameplay is babies for Soulsborne. It plays like utter trash. And I had 3 game-breaking bugs trying to play that game that would corrupt my entire save file. So I had a terrible time playing that game.
See, that's why I asked if you were a Soulsborne guy when you said you didn't care for it that much. Because then you can be like Ryan, where coming from those games, it's such a stark difference.
I was just like, and I'd be starting to get into it and stuff, and then I just have these game-breaking crashes where I'd fall through the world continually every time I restarted, and I don't know what was wrong with it.
That was your new force power, obviously. You weren't paying attention.
Damn it, you're right.
I only ran into one bug while I played that, and I just had to restart the mission I was on. It didn't crash my game completely like that, though, thankfully.
Same here.
No, I had all those horror stories you kept hearing online of like that game breaking things. That was me. I was just like, oh, this is fun. This is what I wanted. I did like some of the boss fights, though. Some of the boss fights were real good.
Especially when you fight. I can't remember the dude's name when you're fighting him on. Oh my god, I'm having a serious brain fart right now.
Game of the year, guys.
Dathomir. There it is, Dathomir. When you had to fight that dude, I can't remember what his name was. He used to be. He like fell from grace. Will, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I can't think of that character's name either.
Yeah,
Lucifer,
that was.
guys. It's
I
Lucifer.
know.
And Lucifer, yeah, it was when
I mean, it was kind of like the Star Wars Lucifer because he was like the big time like Force user guy that kind of like was exiled and stuff. But
yeah,
I don't know why I can't think of his name. It's gonna bother me now.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if I can find it.
Like, yeah, that part was great, and I like the fact that it was being a Souls person. I like that if you want to call it "quote unquote" baby Souls. That was a much better move to reach a broader audience. Like if you would have made this game like a Souls game straight up, I think it wouldn't have been as well received. So I think having light Souls combat was great.
I do think going that route versus just like a standard hack and slash like they used to be, what was the right choice. I don't think I have I don't know, that kind of gameplay wouldn't do it for me anymore. Like I went back and replayed one of the old Jedi games where it's just a hack and slash. And like it was fun for like the first 2 missions, but then it was just like, well, I'm just gonna hurry up and mow through these levels because I just want to get to the end of the campaign. But
yeah,
I don't know. Force Unleashed still does it for me.
ugh.
So the boss's name was Taron Malicos.
Yeah, Malicos.
that's
That's who it was.
Yeah.
But no, it was great. I'm trying to think what like it was good to have, stuff from the Clone Wars TV show in there, like Night Brothers, Night Sisters. I thought that was really neat.
all the stuff on Ilum.
Yeah. I thought that stuff was really cool. And I love the second Inquisitor. She is my new bae. Like she was awesome. Like she was great. I have her and Kylo up in the living room.
Well, they're the
Post
same
it on your
character.
wall.
Oh my god! Don't do that to me if they're the same character. Oof, I couldn't handle that.
She just reminded me of just like Kylo, but different era.
No, it's just like as much as like in Star Wars we have that whole fallen apprentice or fallen master thing. Like it still worked for me in this game. Like it was still fun. Like that. It was fun that it's like, you know what? You always get did she tell you what actually happened? And then you have like that dialogue with but no, it was great. I do enjoy the line where he was like, this kid thinking we back in the Clone Wars or something. I was like, that was fun. But no, there's just a bunch of small little stuff in that game that makes it great. Like when Cal had to use his force powers for the first time, like that was such like a big moment because it's just like, hey, if I do this, I'm like, that's it. My life is ruined right now. Like they're gonna come after me.
Yep.
But he did it anyway because he's a good guy. So it sucked that we had to wait until like a month ago to get like red lightsabers in the game and the Imperial outfit for Cal. So red lightsabers are the way to go.
For the audio listeners, Eric is holding up a red lightsaber and turned it on as soon as he said red lightsaber.
So yes. That's all I have to say about Jedi Fallen Order.
Okay.
Right now.
It was your game of the year, though. I want to make that. I will, which I understand. Last year was not a good year for games. Mine was Death Stranding. It wasn't a great time.
It was a great time. Mine was also Death Stranding. I just love traveling. Walking around, delivering those packages.
Norman Reedus and the Mystery Fetus.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's really good. I like that.
2020's been so long. Fallen Order feels like it came out 3 years ago.
It does.
Hasn't even been a full year yet.
It's crazy.
I also love the fact
that
that
Cal's... a full year, like next week. That sounds right.
I love that Cal's saber is going to be bought. You can buy it now in Galaxy's Edge. I want that really bad.
I can't believe that, to be honest. I knew that game was a big success, but I could not believe Cal was so beloved that he won the fan poll to have his lightsaber in Galaxy.
What were the other sabers again that were up in the running?
Big names in there. There was Count Dooku's, Qui-Gon Jinn, Rey, Ezra Miller, Kanan. Like there were like big legacy characters in that poll that he beat out, which was astounding to me. I guess I'm severely underestimating the Cal fan base out there.
It's the power of the redheads.
One thing I think it could be is that like everyone's saber, like it looks complete and stuff, and Cal's saber that they're selling is kind of like broken.
Mm-hmm.
I love the way Cal's saber looks.
So maybe that's why, because that looks way different than. Obviously, I would want Count Dooku's like saber hilt, but like having a cut off saber with wires protruding seems just
his Korg sword.
So, Will, tell me about Order 66. What's this whole thing? I'm
Well, I
fucking
mean,
with you. No, I'm
I was
just
gonna
kidding.
say, I was
I
gonna
was
say
just
everyone at least
kidding.
knows where Order 66 is, but I could explain it if you needed
No. I know what Order 66 was. I guess let's talk, future of Star Wars games with EA. What do we think would happen? Eric, do you think
What
there'll
do we
be
think? What happens?
yeah, what do you think happens? What do you think would happen, just in case? Do you think that there's going to be a Fallen Order 2?
Oh, no doubt. There's no doubt going to be a Fallen Order 2. That game's so what?
We're running out of time.
13 plus million copies?
Okay, but we're running out of time. They
What are
only
we running
have
out of time for?
No,
I
I mean,
think it's next year as the license is up.
yeah.
I thought they extended it.
What? I don't
I could have
know
swore
about
Disney
that.
said they were extending their license with EA.
I mean, I think because of this conversation we're going to be having, they will extend it.
Just because of our conversation.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I
But
They're like, oh, these guys know it. These guys
Yeah.
get it.
right.
Do we
And
want
that's why I'm going
EA
to say, give it to Ubisoft.
Ooh, I don't know about Ubisoft.
No. So here's the thing. I think EA is now on a 2-game win streak when it comes to Star Wars. Because if we remember, like Battlefront 1, when that came out, that was fine. People liked
Yeah.
it. I spent hours upon hours in that game because it was great. I had so much fun playing it. And then, the debacle with Battlefront 2 came out, and unfortunately that's a game I did not put as much time into as I want to, because it didn't know what it wanted to be. But with Fallen Order and Squadrons, I think they're on a right track, and I think that if they stick with that right there, and stuff that I want to bring up later, give everyone else time to talk, I think EA is still the right person to do it. So
Okay, so just a heads up, EA Star Wars license extends to 2023. However,
Okay, so they did renew it.
EA
just to-
reportedly unhappy with game license, which is
think
crazy.
that's business talk. Probably they want 50 million copies sold or
That's
something.
probably what it
but-
is. Yeah, you're right. Okay, sorry.
So-
Do we want? Sorry, Will. Did you want Fallen Order 2?
Yeah, I do. I want to see where they go with that story. I kind of give them credit for saving Battlefront 2. I think that game, if you play today, is a night and day difference from the product they gave us. They tried to load it with microtransactions. They tried to do kind of the I don't really know how to describe it, because it is kind of just so common in the gaming sphere now. But like they tried to overcharge on that game of
Yeah.
nickeling and diming everything they could out of it, and it blew up in their face. I think they learned from it, and the product that they ended up returning with and fixing by the end, like I think Battlefront 2 might be my favorite online Star Wars game ever now.
Oh.
Like the Ewok hunt game mode on there specifically is just amazing, and I kind of wish they would use that kind of template. Someone out there, or me, if I ever get money, make a short film out of that same concept, because I think that game mode is so much fun. I've had so much fun just playing that game mode, let alone like all of the other standard modes too. So like with that turnaround, Fallen Order was a big hit, Squadrons is a hit. So I think they can use that to kind of keep the online multiplayer with like the Battlefront, because I know they'll have to do a Battlefront 3 at some point. And then Fallen Order can do the single player stuff, and with like world exploration and stuff, and Squadrons kind of has like that entry level, low budget niche covered. So like, and the thing too, like I'm such a loser about like the sequel to it, is I just want to know what it's simply going to be titled, because like it's not going to be Fallen Order 2. It'll be Star Wars Jedi : something. Because like the game was Star Wars Jedi : Fallen Order. So this
Correct.
could be like Star Wars Jedi : The Hunt for the Younglings or something, because like that's how that campaign ended, was he was left with like the name
Younglings.
database. Yeah. Yeah.
You're a
So
monster.
like I'm just even curious on what the title's gonna be. So I hope they get to keep making it because I do think they have figured it out and they're on the right track. Now, is the Disney agreement very high in demand on how much money financially they could be making things, and that's why EA is unhappy? That very well could be, because since it is Star Wars, they're going to want every game to do Call of Duty levels, no matter what its reception is.
Yeah, and do we think that that's ever going to happen, or will it happen in the future?
It could, depending on the game, but like a game like Squadrons will never do that much. It might,
that's what I'm saying.
Cheaper, but
I think you have 4 years. Let's not even 4 years. You have 3 years left to pump out a game that could potentially do that much money.
I think unless they're going to quickly turn around the Squadron sequel, like I suggested that they should do, basically. Yeah. I think all we'll get left that will probably determine if they renew in 2023 or not will be whatever the next Jedi game is and how well that does. Okay. If they come out with the sequel and knock it out of the park and it sells gangbusters, wins a bunch of Game of the Year awards, everyone loves it, I think they'll renew.
Okay. Ryan, do you think we'll ever get Fallen Order 2?
Oh, of course. I don't see a world where that doesn't happen. That you don't end a game like that with with a clear cut to the next game and not put that out, especially for how well that game did. I definitely see that. But my thing is, Respawn made that game correctly, if I'm correct, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Now here's the thing. Give Respawn the Battlefront license as well. Get the Titanfall team or the Apex team to make a shooter for them. Because Battlefield hasn't cut it for about 3 games now. They haven't made a good Battlefield game. Not just a Battlefront game, but a good Battlefield game.
I agree.
And those people at Respawn have proven with Titanfall 2 and Apex, they can make a fantastic shooter.
Yes.
I would love to see what they could do with Star Wars. Because you could get a Call of Duty-esque Star Wars shooter out of them that would sell gangbusters.
And run. Oh, man, could you imagine?
I mean, do you see stormtroopers sliding and aiming down sights, though?
But this is the turn. This is where this is the turn. This is where stormtroopers can actually be good.
Okay.
I don't see them doing that, but I do see them running around like not the typical Call of Duty style, but think like MW2 style combat.
Okay.
Like hard boots on the ground. I could definitely see that. Like class systems, all that kind of thing. Not the Battlefront big field, but 10v10, 6v6, I think would work really well. But that's my dream, is that they give it to Respawn and let them do the shooter. Just let Respawn do everything Star Wars. Respawn's the only good thing that EA's got at the moment.
I think the thing with DICE, why they were good for the first 2 Battlefront games, is like their attention to detail and everything. So like when the first 2 Battlefront games come out, there was like a Star Wars movie that came out a month right after it. So you got Battlefront 1 come out, and then Force Awakens is a month later. You got Battlefront 2 come out, a month later is Last Jedi. So they were able to, because I think Battlefront 2 you could play crate like a week before the movie came out.
Yeah.
For people to experience it, and having like that type of movie like definition in a game was big at the time, where it's like, hey, buy this game, you can play the new Star Wars stuff from the movies. And I think one thing I want to talk about is like how having the crutch of canon and the Star Wars universe is affecting these games. Like I feel as though like right now Star Wars is in a great place because there's no more Skywalker saga. Like they can do anything they want now. Like they're not tied to anything. And I think the games need to do that. So I think that what Marvel has done well is that they've allowed these developers and stuff with this IP. And because like, look, Insomniac was great at crazy gameplay, flying everywhere. Spider-Man, give them Spider-Man. Okay, that works. Like Square Enix, big publisher, they could handle Avengers. Something like that. So I wish EA would let and trust some developers to make stuff. Like they trusted Respawn to make this Star Wars game, and it turned out pretty well.
Mhm.
Like I want them to give studios give the little indie studios at EA, let them make a little indie Star Wars game where you're at the cantina and you have conversations with everybody. And
Well, that's what the Sims expansion is.
oh, Batu,
I thought
yeah.
that was Disneyland.
No, but like have something like that where it's just like you just sit around, you talk to characters, stuff like that. Just like trust your developers to make a good Star Wars game. You don't have to tie it in with anything. Just I really wanted Amy Hennig's Star Wars game, but we'll never
Yeah.
get that. Like I really wanted 1313 really badly, but we'll never get that. Like I want a CD Coruscant Underbelly game. Damn it, Ruben, give me that.
I'm with Eric
should.
on this one. Losing 1313 was a big blow for me with the Star Wars IP at EA. I'm like, because everything they showed for that game got me hyped.
Well, see,
And I
that
was like,
wasn't an
well.
EA thing though. That was a Lucasfilm closing.
Yeah, it was.
They canceled that game themselves.
It got killed along with a bunch of other good things.
I just want
It's
EA
unfortunate.
going forward to just put faith in developers and keep making good Star Wars games because there's a lot of great Star Wars story out there. Like I don't want my only Old Republic game to be an MMO. As much as people like Old Republic, I want give me something. Give me Jedi Fallen Order, but put it in Old Republic times. Like give stuff like that. Do stuff we haven't seen before.
Okay. All right. I think we could probably give you that. But again, we only have less than 3 years left. Do we
And
think?
I think in these 3 years we're going to get one Battlefront game, the Jedi sequel, and probably a Squadron sequel. And that's what they're going to have to use to sell to Disney. Hey, renew with us. Like, look what we've done these last 3 games.
You think that they're going to pump out 3 games within 3 years?
Yeah. So this year was Squadrons. Next year or the year after that is going to be Jedi sequel. And then maybe 2022, 2023.
Jedi Falling Order?
Jedi Gungan Revenge, whatever you want to call it. So,
Gungan Revenge. Oh,
so
I would
something
love
like that. But like, I just want some good Star Wars games. That's all I want. I
don't even care what the gameplay, like game style is. I'll just buy it because it's Star Wars. Like there was a rumor before Squadrons was revealed that it was going to be a MOBA. I was like, I've never played one before, but I'm going all in on it.
Time to understand what top laning means.
Yeah, they had that DC MOBA a few years ago. I don't like MOBAs, but like, hey, a MOBA where I could be Superman and Wonder Woman, I'll play that.
I'm gonna be the number one ranked MOBA player if the Star Wars one comes out.
I want to have that feeling like when I played the Revenge of the Sith movie tie-in game again, where like that game was not great, but I love the shit out of that game. And I want to have that feel like give me the alternate take where Anakin beats Obi-Wan on Mustafar. Give me something like that. That was fun.
He had the high ground. There's no way he was going to.
Not in the alternate ending,
Yeah.
Ruben.
You know what's going to give you that feeling though? The Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga in the spring.
Oh my God! Yes, you're right.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Now, to be clear, this Lego Star Wars Saga is all of the games in one.
All the movies.
It's all 9 of the Skywalker films into one game.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Sorry.
Yeah. They're not remaking the old games. They're remaking everything about it. Like the story. I mean, the story's the same, but like the level design will probably be more updated and better, and the graphics and all that. But
okay, and that's only for $90, $60.
Yeah, that's just gonna be regular price.
It's gonna be $100.
But if I would ever want to push something, because I pre-ordered it as well, I would recommend getting the collector's edition because it's going to come with all of the DLC with that.
Some Mando DLC maybe would be
nice.
There's
Mandalorian, Bad Batch, and 2 other packs. But they're all going to be
part of the bad one.
But the collector's edition gets all those with that. Where if you just got the standard edition, you'd have to pay for those content packs on their own.
Okay.
I did like Force Awakens Lego game. I thought that was neat.
That's the only one I ever played was the Force Awakens one.
It also it added that whole thing with with CP3PO's red arm. It explains it in the game, and I don't like introducing Star Wars canon into games like Fortnite did.
Yeah.
What
The
did
dead
Fortnite do?
speak, but in Fortnite,
What?
like
That whole Fortnite event, that was like the message that Palpatine broadcast to the galaxy that they mentioned in the opening crawl for Rise of Skywalker. And it's like
Oh,
it could have
really?
yeah,
That was in Fortnite?
But
yeah, it was in Fortnite. I was so freaking pissed about that because I didn't play the event, and so when they talk about how Palpatine spoke, I'm like,
When?
when did Frank talk? When did he speak? Like,
You
and
could have
so-
easily put that in a trailer, like
Yep.
in one of the starting trailers.
I mean, I think they could have just started the film that way, but
They could
There's
have.
been a lot of
I
different
guess
things
for
with Rise
another
of
time.
Skywalker, to be honest.
Did we all like Rise of Skywalker?
I thought it was fine.
I
thought it was
fucking hated
fine.
it.
It's my
Okay.
least favorite of the sequel trilogy, but it's still a Star Wars film, and I had fun. So,
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
but there are a lot of issues. But again, we're not talking about Star Wars movies, or else this could go on for 8 hours. Ruben.
Right.
Could go on for 8 hours. You're right. I'm sorry.
I still saw it 3 times in theaters and bought it.
I
on
saw it.
Same.
I also saw it 3 times in
As
theaters.
much as we hated it, we still gave them money.
I saw it. Well, again, I had A-list. AMC A-list, so I saw it for essentially one ticket price.
First time I
I
saw
paid-
it, the film was very dark. I think it was a projector issue. So when I saw it in IMAX, I'm like, oh, that's what that scene is supposed to look like. Still
Yeah.
doesn't make it better, but that's how it's supposed to look.
I paid IMAX money 3 times to see it.
I'm so sorry.
I would have done the same thing. Like, there's a lot of story choices I have like with that movie, but I still think like when that movie's awesome, it's friggin' awesome.
I agree.
I agree too.
Especially when Kylo's on screen. But anywho, I think Star Wars games. Yeah, I think they're on the right goal, right path. But I want them to take new stuff. Like, give me a Mando game, for crying out loud. Give me one of those.
So I did want to bring up The Mandalorian because there's this question that's been bugging the shit out of me ever since season 1 ended.
Where's Werner Herzog? I know.
No, I don't really care about Werner Herzog.
Oh, you don't know about the Darksaber.
I
Okay.
kind of know about the Darksaber, but that's not my question.
Okay.
Is Boba Fett still alive? Will we see him in season 2?
That I
They said
don't
he's
know.
in it.
What?
Yeah. Well, his marketing agency said he's in it, but that's
don't
still just kind of something we're gonna have to live to see to be confirmed or not. But like
Okay.
Timothy Oliphant was cast as Cobb Vanth, which somehow out of the blue I predicted before anyone did.
Did you really?
I did before what? Because like my podcast that's back now. We went on hiatus, but during the
Cantina
lockdown,
Conversations. Everyone should listen to it. It's great.
What is it called?
it's the Cantina Conversations.
Where could we find that?
Any podcasting platform. All of the episodes are back up. They were down while we were on hiatus because I stopped paying for the server I kept them on, but they're all up there now. But
Okay.
It's great, Ruben. You should listen to them.
I'm gonna have to start.
I'm gonna give it a listen.
But yeah, like when we were locked down when COVID first hit, we obviously had nothing to do. So like we tested the waters and did a live stream show. And like we were discussing things that we wanted to have happen in season 2 of Mandalorian. Because like the Boba Fett rumors were popping up. And I was like, if Boba Fett's in it, he's not going to be in his armor. And Cobb Vanth will be in his armor. And I was like explaining this character because my 2 co-hosts had not read the Aftermath books. So I was like explaining to them who Cobb Vanth was. And he's this guy that finds this beaten up, spit out Mandalorian armor in the desert from some Jawas that they found in the desert in Tatooine. So he starts wearing the armor and calls himself the Sheriff of Tatooine. So it's like he's going to be wearing Boba Fett's armor in the show. And then literally it was like a week after our live stream, the Hollywood Reporter broke that Timothy Oliphant was playing Cobb Vanth. And they were like, "How did you get that right?" And I was like, "I have no idea."
Insider information. That's how. He was the one that was. He gave the final vote, and he was like, "Just do it. Let's just
Yeah.
get Timmy."
Them watching the live stream, they're like, "Fuck it."
They were watching,
Give
and they
it
were
to
like,
him.
Yeah.
"We're giving it just for him. We're gonna cast him for that
Oh,
one."
that's such a good casting, though. Oh my god.
It is.
I mean,
it's
they
good.
could definitely play though where Boba Fett's alive, but he lost his armor and he got beat to death. But I still think the whole thing's just a ruse. I think he's going to be Captain Rex. I think he's going to appear in whatever episode Ahsoka shows up in. But that's my theory.
Did they
I'm with her on that.
did they say if Sabine is in this or not?
She was supposed to be rumored to be what Sasha Banks was playing, but then after the trailer came out, everyone was like, "No, she's a whole new character," and that kind of killed those rumors.
That's unfortunate.
It's weird that Sasha Banks is going to be in Mandalorian season 2. I'm so
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's a fun pick.
I'm very interested in to see how her like acting ability is, because wrestlers are either you get like a Dave Batista or you get like
Rock.
the people that do those straight to DVD movies for the WWE,
Like the
The
Rock.
Miz.
As
Like-
someone who religiously watches wrestling, I think Sasha Banks will do a good job. She's hell on the mic, so
Okay,
I could see it being
I
really good.
used to be big into pro wrestling, but I fell out of it in about like 2015. I think was about the last time I started watching any of that stuff. So
I have a thought, Ruben.
Yeah, go ahead.
How would you, since it being October and all, how would we make a Star Wars horror game
Ewok Hunt.
Oh
without
my god!
without Ewok hunts?
So I have a question about this Ewok hunt you keep bringing up. Are you hunting Ewoks or are Ewoks hunting you?
I think
Both.
Ewoks are hunting you.
half of the players are Ewoks and half of the players are stormtroopers. And the goal of the game is, if you're the stormtroopers, you're a squadron of stormtroopers that got left behind on the forest moon of Endor, and you have to wait until you can get picked up by a shuttle. And the only light that you have, because the game's at night, the only light that you have is this flashlight on the end of your rifle, and it's temporary, so like it can go out and has to recharge before you can turn it back on. Whereas the Ewoks have night vision, and they have their battle horns. So when you're a stormtrooper creeping through knee-high grass and your flashlight is out, and all of a sudden you hear a stick break, and then you hear, and then you're swarmed by Ewoks, you just cry because that's the only one of the reactions
Yeah.
to it.
That sounds fantastic.
It's awesome. It really is.
Very scary to me. I would not want to be a stormtrooper.
On the forest moon
Um,
of Endor and Battlefront was always a disadvantage.
good. Yeah,
Very big disadvantage.
it's upsetting. Eric, to answer your question, I think they kind of already did it.
What?
The horror game, Horror Stars game. The last 15 minutes of Fallen Order. Fucking terrifying for me. With Darth Vader.
Yeah, when he's
Spoilers.
just like stalking you and you're
Yeah.
completely powerless against him.
Yeah, I wish I wasn't spoiled on that, because like, even though it's just like, obviously it's Darth Vader, it's like, it's Star
Yeah.
Wars, it's probably gonna happen. Still, seeing just like my favorite Star Wars character just show up out of nowhere, obviously is gonna make me happy. So
Yeah.
I'm bummed I got
Yeah.
spoiled by that. But oh god, what was I gonna say? I would genuinely like there's so many genres of games you can make with Star Wars. Like, I would just love a Star Wars horror game.
I'm
I
going to
would've
throw
said-
out Republic Commandos because that game had some horror vibes to it.
That is a good game.
It had that like,
It's backwards compatible on the Xbox.
is it?
It is.
Finally, a reason for me to use Game Pass.
So what do you think? What would be your Star Wars horror game?
Me?
Are you talking to me? Who are
Yeah,
you talking
no, I said Will.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Like, Ewok Hunt just scratches that for me. I'm not like the biggest Survivor horror game fanatic, really. So, like, I only play like one every so often. So like just playing a night of that for a while, that scratches that itch that I would have.
Okay.
I think what we'd have to do is you would have to get into the super crazy mystical side of Star Wars.
Mhm.
Like go to Dathomir and have all that crazy shit happening to you for a night. And I don't know, maybe you're just a soldier who's sent there. You crash on the planet. I don't know, hallucinations, stuff like that. Yeah, I just want a Star Wars horror game. That's really something I really want. But don't make me hide. Like if I can pull out a lightsaber or something at any time, that'll make me feel better. If something scares me, you can just slice it in half.
Mhm.
I would
Give
also
me
have
Dead
to say
Space,
Ooh,
but
that's-
Star Wars.
that would be interesting. I would like to see
That
that.
was an EA game.
Yeah,
It was an EA game.
Made
technically
So-
counts.
Does that
Visceral.
developer exist, or did they close that
Oh,
developer?
Visceral is done. Visceral was the one
Okay.
that's going to be making that Amy Hennig game,
Oh,
It's
that's
unfortunate.
right.
and then that got scrapped.
I would also say, I'm pretty sure that they were rebels. Have a rebel game where you're technically in the movie universe that you're in Rogue One, leading up into A New Hope, and just have you as one of the rebels that gets killed by Darth Vader at the end of Rogue One.
Hmm.
Yeah,
That would
that'd be
Can
pretty.
I be Darth Vader?
No, you cannot be.
We're not
Darth
making this
Vader.
asynchronous multiplayers. Don't work
No.
anymore.
Oh my god!
You could watch
Oh
him
my
kill
God.
you.
What was that?
You could watch him kill you. So that's
Exactly.
gotta be the thing.
Yeah.
Ryan, your voice got higher and barkier there all of a sudden. Everything okay?
I don't know why my dogs are freaking out.
It's the Darth Vader.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's what it
shit.
is.
My pug.
He's coming for you. He's
Yeah,
coming for you.
that scene in Rogue One is still the only reason why I like Rogue One. Sorry for that hot take, but
You're crazy.
Rogue One was fine. I thought it was fine.
It's
I
upsetting.
like the everything from Scarif to the end of Rogue One.
I think
I don't-
one of my problems with it is tied into Battlefront, where everyone was really wanting like new content, but we only got original trilogy stuff, and then to be like, oh, you wanted new stuff? Here's Scarif. Okay, all right. You know what? I'll take it. That's
I'll
fine.
take it.
It did give us our Lord and Savior, though. Baston the Space Monkey.
I thought you were about to say Kranich there for a second.
No, I absolutely love Baston the Space Monkey. And you don't see his body in that plane wreckage. So my theory is he's still alive, and he's going to come back with a vengeance.
He and Babu Frick are gonna team up
I
together.
have a buddy cop movie.
Oh God.
Baston and Babu on Disney Plus.
What have I walked back to? I had to go sign for UPS package.
I'm
I do
talking
not want to know.
Babu Frick buddy cop movie.
I mean, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Babu's
Okay.
back.
He was a good part for Rise. He was one of the good parts.
I don't know about that.
They wouldn't have able to had the Sith readings translated without him. Okay.
They
I
didn't
still
need
have-
the Sith readings being translated. Okay. It was a
I
really
still have
bad
my
movie.
Babu Frick Funko Pop in the box because it's worth money.
Really?
Yeah, so Babu can come back to value up his character all he wants.
That's the only time he's ever going to be in Star Wars is that one scene right there. I hope that's the case.
Yeah.
Because then that thing will be worth thousands.
Yep,
Eventually.
and then I'll get him tattooed on my lower back.
Oh God. Well, I want to thank you, Will, for coming on and talking to us about Star Wars, giving us your expertise. Really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for having me on.
Oh.
Anytime I can talk the wars.
Okay. Well, I'll check back with you to see if you could come on for Mandalorian season 2 review.
Okay,
Okay.
I'd be more than happy to.
Okay. Sounds good. Before we go, I want to do some plugs. Eric, where can people find you?
Hey, what's up? Eric Segan on Twitter. That's about it.
Okay. Will, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Papa Star Wars. You can find me on Twitch at Papa_Star Wars. And then you can check out my podcast, The Cantina Conversations. And we're also on Twitter at Cantina Convo.
Okay. I'll be putting it in the description below. Ryan, where can people find
People
you?
can find me on all the social media networks at Ryan the Lion 3055. Also, it's sad someone took Papa Star Wars on Twitch from
It
you.
really
I
is.
know I was heartbroken.
You want me to rough him up for you?
Yeah, if you can find him, you beat him up, put him in a locker, and tell him to give me what I deserve.
All right, that's fair. I'll definitely do that. Did somebody take Papa_Star Wars on Twitter?
No, but Papa Star Wars was just what I was on Twitter first, and I don't want to change it.
No, yeah, I know, but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the same guy, you know?
It could be. We could be at war with the
Yeah.
underscore.
Yeah. Okay.
That's going to be my fan fiction. That's the major event.
You
My
can find me.
self-insert fanfiction.
Oh God. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram on
There you go.
Jesus Christ. I don't know what the hell's wrong with me today.
Your name is Jesus Christ on this thing?
Wow.
Dude, how you did that?
Let me try that
I
again.
I think someone has that name already, Ruben.
I'm Jesus H. Christ. That's
So
what
you hear
it is.
about that really old book? That's about you?
Yeah, how'd you know?
Oh,
I
that's
could turn
cool.
water into wine, but
Wow.
apparently it's illegal in the States, so I can't really do it anymore.
Dang.
Yeah. No, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at PenConquest and Twitch at Penultimate Conquest. We're also starting up the Penultimate Plays Twitch this week. So be on the lookout for that. Thank you, Will, once again for joining us and talking about Star Wars. Thank you, Eric, for coming on today on your day off. I know that's
Do we even ask what everyone's favorite Star Wars game was? If we're talking about Star Wars games, we didn't even ask what everyone's favorite game was.
Well, we could save it for another time. Okay.
Okay.
All right. For the next Star Wars games that come out. Ryan,
Yes.
thank you for coming on today, buddy. I really appreciate it. You had some
No
stuff
problem.
going on.
No problem. No problem. Anytime I get to bother Eric is a good day in my book.
Yeah.
Apparently, that's
right.
what this show is all about.
Absolutely. I mean, for a guy that said Fallen Order was his game of the year last year, he couldn't even answer a simple question, you know.
Oh, shame.
What was the simple question?
We asked you who was the boss on Dathomir, and you
Oh.
couldn't even answer that.
Oh, here, I do have a question for you guys before we go.
Yeah, go right ahead.
This late 90s Princess Leia action figure I have.
Mhm.
Tell me if the face mold for this action figure does not look like me. Let me see if I can get it to focus in. Does that
My
not look like me?
My God, Will.
I can't see that.
I don't know if it's how focused in it got. But...
I am not going to be able to watch Return of the Jedi the same anymore. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Oh boy.
No,
Eric,
it's Will.
Well, okay. Thank you guys once again. Have a good night.
Bye.
You too. Thank you.
No problem.
Peace.
Bye.